Episode 57 had one of the most intense action scenes that we have ever seen. Goku Black versus Zamasu versus Future Trunks. But we are back to filler episodes. Episode 58 wasn't that exciting. I mean, it was mainly a filler episode, but in addition to that, it was mostly a setup episode, and we're gonna talk about what exactly this episode is setting up. But I noticed something. Apparently somebody at Toei Animation has an obsession with Whis's eyes. I mean, just look at those eyes. Yeah, baby. Not these eyes, but those eyes. Hola mi gente, my name is Opai Senpai, and I came back from a week break working on some big things, and also my laptop wasn't working. But I got a new laptop, and now we're gonna be talking about episode 58. In the opening images, Zuno explains that the Super Dragon Balls were created by the dragon god Zalama in the year 41 according to the divine calendar. So what is he referring to? Well, the first event in recorded history in the Dragon Ball universe is the year 41 event where Zalama created the Super Dragon Balls. But there was actually something that happened even before that, and that was the birth of Majin Buu, which actually happened in the time of Immortal, which basically means that that is the time so long ago that we don't even have a specific number. So we don't exactly know like how far away from year 41 that was, but again, year 41 was the first recorded event in history that we know of so far. All right, moving on. So in the next image, you can see it says that the Super Dragon Balls are split between Universe 6 and Universe 7, which are a pair, and for a total of 7 exist in both universes. Now, when he's talking about exist in all, I believe he's referring to the whole 12 universes, because if Super Dragon Balls existed between other pairs of universes, then why would Zamasu go from Universe 10 to Universe 7 to ask Zuno about the giant Super Dragon Balls? So it seems to me that the Super Dragon Balls do not exist in other universes and are exclusive to Universe 6 and Universe 7. That's what I believe, but we'll find out. Now, he basically Zuno gives Zamasu the same explanation that he gave Bulma when she went to visit him. Come forth, Divine Dragon, and grant my wish, pretty peace. And by the way, pretty peace is not actually like the direct, in terms of how it's actually translated from Japanese, it's a little bit different. But so I might explain that in a different video. But all right, moving on to what's actually important, which is Zuno explains that the Super Dragon Balls take a year before they can reactivate. Basically, the Super Dragon Balls, the light is the source of their power, and they've exhausted all their light after they've been used. So you have to wait a whole year before you can start gathering them again. All right, but let's talk about what's actually important, which is the next line where he says, Son Goku? Okay, so this episode confirms that Zamasu, or this particular Zamasu, the way he was able to learn about Goku, his weaknesses, his powers, everything about him was through Zuno. Maybe Zuno told him about the future, how in the future timeline, Goku has died of the heart virus. And that's going to be very important later in the video. You're gonna find out soon. Okay, so Bulma says that even being a god shouldn't make somebody immortal, which means that if her theory is correct, that means even people like Whis, even the attendants of the Omni King are not immortal. Okay, so we don't know about Zeno, whether he is immortal, but I would assume he's either immortal or he's just very, very powerful. But don't cross your fingers, because there was a little bit of confusion between Super Saiyan Rose in this translation. So Rose is not actually how you say it, it's Rose. So Super Saiyan Rose with an accent over the E. So that's how you actually say Super Saiyan Rose. It's not Super Saiyan Rose, but that's okay. The translations were a little bit off in this particular moment. It's not a huge deal, honestly. I don't care. Now, the Supreme Kai of Universe 7 says that he was contacted by the sage Zuno. So it is confirmed that Zuno is still alive. Zamasu has not killed anybody yet, okay? His first victim is most likely gonna be Gowasu. But yes, Zamasu left and Zuno is still alive, which means that we are still going to see him in the future, in a future episode, hopefully. I think we're gonna get to see Zuno again. But anyways, in other words, Zamasu wants the power to assert his justice, and that is the main motive of his mission. So he doesn't think he is an evil character, he thinks he is the hero of justice, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. Alright, so Whis has an interesting theory, and I disagree with his theory, and I actually think that his theory is incorrect, and we're gonna find out in a few episodes. Whis says that Zamasu first used the Super Dragon Balls and summoned Super Shenron to create a copy of Son Goku. And he basically says that that could have been due to the interest in Goku-san sparked by the recent fight when they first met, when Goku went to Universe 10. But I actually disagree with Whis. I think half of his theory is correct, which is the fact that Zamasu used the Super Dragon Balls to become immortal. But the other half of his theory of creating Goku Black just doesn't quite add up, because of the key that Black has that is very similar to Zamasu, and also I don't think that the show is going to spoil the beans just yet. Alright, I think they're having you believe that that is how Goku Black was created, but don't forget, in a few episodes, we're gonna find the identity of Goku Black, like the actual identity, and that wouldn't make sense if we already find out the identity of Goku Black, which is a copy of Goku. So I think his theory is not correct. Now, in terms of why the subtitles said that's because they're speaking the language of the gods. Okay, let's continue to what's important. Beerus says, you know, only Kaioshins can use the time rings. And then he says they can't just be borrowed so easily. Even the present Zamasu we know is only an apprentice Kaioshin. But then it gets interesting, because he says, well, then he's not just an apprentice, but a full Kaioshin and can do whatever he wants if he was to kill Gowasu. So it seems, based on this wording, it seems that, okay, if you have a Supreme Kai, just because you take their Potara ring doesn't mean you can use the time ring. And if you steal the time ring and the Potara rings, earrings, it doesn't mean you can time travel. But if you kill the Supreme Kai, then the next person in line automatically becomes the next Supreme Kai. That's what it seems like to me. So it seems like they don't need the approval of Zeno or a higher being to say, you know what, you are now the Supreme Kai. Basically, when the Supreme Kai is dead, the apprentice takes over, and that makes sense as to why Zamasu needs to kill Gowasu. He doesn't just want to steal the time ring, he has to kill him. It's not that he's killing him out of evil. I mean, we see it that way. But in the eyes of Zamasu, this is a necessary evil that must be done in order to achieve his mission of his justice. So it's almost like collateral damage. I'm sorry, bro. I just gotta kill you. You know, it's nothing personal, but I gotta do it. So I think that's what's going through Zamasu's head. All right, let's continue. So then it says, this is why, then why is his ki alone similar to Zamasu's? I think this is a very important point, because throughout the episode, they actually brought this up multiple times. Again, I think that Black's ki being very similar to Zamasu is very important, and it leads me to a theory, which is I think that Black is a mix of Zamasu and something else, okay? And I think you guys are gonna be shocked to find out. Again, I'm gonna say it right now, I think that Black is Zamasu. Now, you could be saying, how can that be? Zamasu is a different character. Well, I'm gonna make a whole video about this, so make sure you guys keep an eye this week for the video or the anime theory about there are two Zamasus, and I'm gonna explain how that is. Okay, now Maki and Haru are the names of the two kids, and that's actually a pun for spring rolls, in case you guys didn't know. So that's a nice little Easter egg there. But beyond puns, something interesting, they say there are still lots of survivors across the earth working hard. Now, if you remember in the previous episode, episode 57, pretty much Mai said that these people were the only survivors in the planet. And that got a little bit confusing, but it seems like she was referring to her crew, like her direct people. According to episode 58, or the translations, there are still people scattered around the earth underground, So there's still some hope for humanity. If these people were to die today, there are still other people in the planet to populate the planet. Alright, so now Gowasu-sama, I have brought you tea, and this was the ending of episode 58. Now, if you predicted that Gowasu was going to die by tea, in the great words of a good friend of mine,
congratulations, you are a great prognosticator.
And indeed, you are. So it seems that Zamasu is definitely going to kill Gowasu with the tea. Now, there is something interesting, and that is, if Gowasu gets killed, well, doesn't that mean that the God of Destruction from Universe 10 also dies? Well, couldn't Whis go back in time to prevent from Gowasu from being killed? Because at the end of the day, all they need is evidence. They don't need Gowasu to stay dead. All they need is the evidence of Zamasu is going to do this. So that's what I found really interesting. But overall, this episode was a filler episode. It was a setup episode, and it's basically setting it up for Zamasu, who's going to have a conflict against Beerus. And then we're gonna go into the future in a few episodes, and then we're gonna find out the true identity of Goku Black. And I think my theory video is going to explain and it's going to predict what's actually going to happen. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. So guys, it's good to be back. The reason why I was gone for a while was because my computer stopped working. So, and I'm probably going to explain this in a few videos until you guys finally understand. But basically my computer stopped working. I had to ship it. I had to buy a new computer. I had to wait for the equipment to arrive and all the parts, and that's why I was away for a week. But I am back, and I'm gonna be making a lot of videos this week and the next few weeks. So guys, it's gonna be a good time, and I will see you guys in the next video.